Have you ever wondered how brands create campaign that makes you stop scrolling, get excited, and jump to the bus? Hi, Bitwul here, and today I'm going to teach you what campaign strategy is, how you can start on your campaign strategy, the step-by-step process to follow, and also a real-life example to tie it all in. So whether you're a student, a brand newbie, an entrepreneur, this guide is for you. Let's get right in. So let's break it down. What is a campaign strategy? A campaign strategy is like a GPS for a marketing journey. First, it tells you where to go, who to take along, what route to follow, and how to know when you finally arrived. And now I'm going to list the 7-step framework for a marketing campaign. 1, your goals. Goals are your why, and your goals have to be specific and not vague. So you have to set SMART goals. SMART standing for specific, measurable, attainable or achievable, relevant, and time bound. For instance, increase website traffic by 30%, be it increase website traffic, because it shows you, it gives you a direct number to work with, and it gives you a time bound information to work with. Number 2 is know your audience. It's very important that when you are planning your campaign, you know who you're targeting, because who you're targeting would then allow you to pick the channels, allow you to frame your messaging, and all the other framework that are included in the marketing strategy. So you would have to know your core audience. You don't have to just know their ages and who they you have to go in depth. That means you have to know their pain points, you have to know where they spend most of their time, you have to know what issues they have that you can actually solve. So let's take, for instance, you're targeting university students. You know that mostly from ages 18 to maybe 30, and then after that you have to make sure that the tone for which you are, these people are mostly, they would be Gen Zers. You'd have to target your messaging to fit that specific age range. And then you have to also know which of the best platforms they're mostly on. Do they prefer TikTok over Instagram or vice versa? And then you're able to then make sure that you have that ironed out in your campaign strategy. The next one would be crafting your core messaging, which is actually tied to your audience. As I mentioned earlier, your core messaging would allow you to make sure that you are speaking in a voice and you're speaking in a tone that your core audience or your target audience actually understand. The most important thing is that your message has to be emotionally appealing and also solve an issue or solve a problem. So you then have to use storytelling and benefit filled messaging in order to sell your service or your product. Take for instance Nike. Nike just do it. It's a very easy phrase, but it's very memorable, and it triggers motivation and confidence. So you have to make sure that your messaging has an emotional hook that makes it memorable and keeps it top of mind. Number 4 is choosing your channels. So if you know and you've done the research on your audience, you would then know what channel the best are on, in order not for you to waste time on other platforms. Not saying that you might not use other platforms, like you could use other platforms, but you would have to, you have to back down, or you have to be more empathetic on, you have to be more on site or on social media platforms where your audience are, in order to get your target or in order to reach your goal. So take for instance, now you are targeting young people, and most of them Gen Zers, would say mostly TikTok. If you go on maybe Twitter or on other platforms that they are not on it, you will not be able to hit your mark and your goal. You have to know what content your audience crave. You have to know where they spend most of their time on. You have to understand how, what buying power do they have, as much buying power. You have to know all these things in order for you to be able to craft your messaging to suit their appeal. The 5th step is plan, creative, and execution. And in plan, creative, and execution, what you have to do is you have to plan a content calendar. A content calendar is very important to make sure that your team are on board with whatsoever. So let's say who is writing the blog, who is taking the images, who is taking the videos, who is editing them, who is posting them, who is needed for the shoot. All these are going to be contained in your content calendar. A well structured timeline with deadlines boosts consistency and reduces the chaos. Clear roles and hands off make campaigns smooth. Number 6 is budget and resource planning. And in budget and resource planning, you would need to know how much money, not just money, but the time is being spent. How much time, how much effort, how much money is being spent. So you'd have to have a budget for the art. Let's say you're running art on Instagram, on LinkedIn, or you're running on Google. You have to have like an ad allocated budget for that. And if you are using influencers, for instance, you have to know how much you're going to spend on influencers. And also part of that would be not forgetting the time for review with the team. So you have to come back with the team, getting them on board, making sure that everybody is in tone. And if there's any slow backs or any drag backs, you're able to answer it or fix that immediately. The most important thing is that you want your budget to reach your goal. So you have to make sure that it is going the way, and if it's not, then it has to be reiterated. The final step, which is the seventh step, is to launch and measure. So after launching, the campaign is out, everyone is happy. There are other steps that come after, and that is making sure that you monitor how well this campaign is doing. How well is it being perceived? Are you getting your target? Are you on track? And if you're not on track, you then have to go back to the dashboard and mid view. You have to monitor key metrics like return on investment, ROI. You have to check your key points indicator, your clicks, your conversion. You have to use tools like Google Analytics, Facebook Analytics, Instagram Analytics to make sure that you are on track with your metrics. And if you are not, then mid campaign, you have to make some changes. A quick mnemonic to remember all this would be the RAM. The RAM model, it says 1, R is for research, E is for align with business goal, M is for map your message, E is for pick your platforms, E is for execute the plan, and then D is for diagnose and adjust. If you can remember the 6 words, you can explain campaign strategy at its fundamental level. So let's bring this all to life. Let's take example Canva. Canva had an aim to grow freelance users signed up by 20% in 3 months. So what do? They targeted creative entrepreneurs through TikTok, tutorials, Instagram carousels, influencer posts, and they use a tagline, design anything anywhere easily. They said budget for tutorials for influencers, for ad spends and whatnot, and they were able to track their engagement and signed up metrics to optimize messaging. The result was a steady user growth and community engagement. Before I wrap up, here are some common rookie mistakes to avoid. Number 1 is skipping audience research. It is very important to know your audience before you start anything, any campaign. Because if you don't, then you are literally going blindly. Number 2 is setting vague goals. Make sure that your goals are specific. Make sure that they're smart. And you remember they're specific, they are measurable, they're achievable, attainable, they're relevant, they're time bound. You have to make sure that your goal answers all that. Another mistake will be juggling too much objective all at once. Make sure you have 2, at most 3 objectives. Don't have them too much that you're everywhere and you don't really know where you are, if you get me. Number 4 rookie mistake would be forgetting to analyze. You have to make sure you analyze so that when you're running a next campaign, you'll be able to use the data from your previous campaign to be able to make informed decisions. To sum up, a great campaign strategy sets a clear goal, knows the people you're talking to, crafts a strong message, picks the right channel, plan creatives and budget, then measures and improve. I hope this helps you to build your first winning campaign. Like, share, subscribe, and comment your campaign ideas or questions. I'm here to help you grow.